Making fresh pita and watching it puff into a ball is incredibly satisfying. But if you've ever ended up with flatbread instead of a pocket, you're not alone. On a skillet, a few small mistakes can prevent that puff from happening. Today, I'll show you how to make soft pita with a reliable pocket, plus a quick chicken and yogurt sauce to serve alongside it. Hi friend, come on in. Pita isn't just a flatbread, it's a regional tradition for many. The goal is creating steam between the top and bottom layers. That steam will force the layers apart and create the pocket. The problem with cooking this in a skillet is the lack of surrounding heat, and improper shaping can also cause the steam to escape before it fully inflates the pocket. The recipe I am working with today is enough to make 6 regular-sized pitas. In a bowl, add 240 grams of flour, about 2 cups, 1 teaspoon of sugar or honey added to the water, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1 teaspoon of instant yeast. In a measuring cup, add 145 grams of warm water, a scant 2/3 cup, 12 grams of olive oil, about 1 tablespoon, and the honey if you are using honey. Combine the water into the flour and mix until a shaggy dough forms. Turn that out and give it a few kneads to bring it together. Cover with the bowl and allow the dough to hydrate and rest for about 10 minutes. After that rest, knead until a smooth dough forms. My dough was a touch tacky, so I had to do some slap and folds to get it to come together. Try to not add extra flour. We want this approximate hydration level so there is enough water to create steam. But each flour and kitchen is different. If your dough is too sticky, either add a little more flour or use stretch and folds until it smooths out. If you are using cup measures, definitely hold back on the flour and add as needed to ensure the dough isn't too stiff. After the dough has been well kneaded, there is a decision point. Divide and shape into 6 portions now, or go for a more rustic shape after the dough has had a chance to double. When rounding the dough into balls, a little belly button forms on the bottom. I have found that this creates a pinch point where steam can break out prematurely, causing an incomplete pocket to form. I tested both methods. Some were pre-rounded before proofing, and some were shaped afterward. The pre-rounded dough tended to seal that pinch point more reliably, but both produced usable pita. About an hour later, both batches had become puffy. The pre-rounded dough was ready to roll, and I divided the remaining dough into 3 portions. These won't be quite as round, but they'll make a more rustic pita. For the balls, I press them out and roll them to about 6 inches. The rolling happens in 2 stages. The dough will usually spring back halfway through the shaping. Rather than forcing it thinner, let it rest for a few minutes before finishing the roll. Forcing it can create tiny tears where steam escapes instead of inflating the pocket. In the end, we want about 3 to 4 millimeters of thickness on these pita. Cover and allow them to rest about 15 minutes. About 10 minutes into the rest time, begin to preheat a dry cast iron over medium heat. Cast iron takes a long time to heat up, and we need a thoroughly heated pan. About 2 minutes before starting, turn the heat up to medium-high. The high heat is needed to generate the steam quickly, which will make for a better puff. If you are working with a thinner pan, preheat for less time on medium, then move the pan up to a slightly higher heat before starting. A thinner pan will warm up faster and be more responsive to temperature changes. In the end, you know your pan and stove better than I do. This will be a little like pancakes. The first might be a little dark, but the rest will be better. Now for the fun. This will move quickly. Ensure you have a plate with a clean tea towel beside your work area to receive the cooked pita. Most skillet pita failures happen because the first side cooks too long. We only want a thin skin of cooked dough. If the crust becomes too thick before the steam develops, the pita becomes too heavy to inflate. Place the pita in the pan carefully to avoid any folds. This is best with 2 hands to maintain control as the pita goes down. Folds will stick to themselves immediately and create a thick spot that will not puff or cook through as well. Once in, cook for 10 to 15 seconds. Enough to create a thin skin of cooked dough, but not enough to cook through. Flip and count out another 10 to 15 seconds. Flip again and watch for a full puff. Flip once more if you want a little more color. Remove the pita to a plate with a tea towel and cover. The pita should be sitting on the tea towel and be covered. This prevents condensation from creating a soggy bottom and traps the steam to soften the outside of the pita for that soft bread. It doesn't matter if the pita was round or not. It will deform a little when placed in the pan and will still puff up no matter how rustic it looks. I also tested a few in the air fryer. At maximum temperature, they needed a flip about 30 seconds in, or one side becomes noticeably thicker than the other. It worked, but I preferred the skillet because it was easier to monitor the puff and control the timing. While the pita cooled, I made a quick zesty chicken. I had some cubed chicken thighs that I squeezed in a little lemon juice, added some salt, pepper, paprika, cumin, and garlic powder, as well as a little olive oil. I gave that a quick pan fry to crisp it up. For a quick yogurt sauce, I added in some lemon juice with olive oil, salt and pepper to taste. The pockets are fully formed from edge to edge. Neither side is paper thin, and the pita holds up beautifully to this skillet chicken and yogurt sauce. I topped with some cabbage seasoned with salt and pepper for a little crunch. The difference between a pita that puffs and one that stays flat usually comes down to 3 things: enough moisture in the dough, a smooth surface without tears, and quick flips on a thoroughly heated skillet. Get those 3 things right, and the steam does the work for you. Even if your first few aren't perfect, pay attention to how quickly the crust forms and where the steam escapes. A small adjustment in shaping or timing can make a huge difference. If you give these a try, let me know how they turn out. I'm always curious whether people struggle more with getting the pocket to form, the rolling, or finding the right pan temperature. Once you get the feel for it, fresh pita becomes one of the easiest and most rewarding breads to make at home.